It's a massive win for Israel and could well be a watershed moment for the year-old war in Gaza and the larger conflict in the Middle East. Hamas chief Yahya Sinwar is dead, killed by the Israel Defense Forces in the most dramatic fashion and in what turned out to be purely a chance encounter. On Thursday, Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz announced the mass murderer Yahya Sinwar, responsible for the massacre and atrocities of the 7th of October, was eliminated by the IDF. Later, the IDF released drone footage of what it says were the last moments of the 62-year-old Hamas chief. The video that has since gone viral shows Sinwar sitting on a couch surrounded by rubble inside a damaged and dilapidated house. In his final moments, he is seen throwing an object at the drone. IDF spokesperson Daniel Hagari said in a video statement, Sinwar was responsible for the most brutal attack against Israel in our history. When terrorists from Gaza invaded Israel, massacred Israelis in their homes, raped our women, burnt entire families alive, and took over 250 men, women, children and babies hostage into Gaza. 101 hostages still remain in captivity in brutal conditions for the past 1 year. Hagari added, IDF is committed to not rest until they bring home all hostages by any means. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu subsequently delivered an address saying, Yahya Sinwar is dead. He was killed in Rafah by the brave soldiers of the Israeli Defense Forces. While this is not the end of the war in Gaza, it's the beginning of the end. For the people of Gaza, I have a simple message. This war can end tomorrow. It can end if Hamas lays down its arms and returns our hostages. Netanyahu also had a warning. He said, but for those who would harm our hostages, I have another message. Israel will hunt you down and bring you to justice. I also have a message of hope for the people of the region. The axis of terror that was built by Iran is collapsing before our eyes. In his video message, Netanyahu also highlighted the elimination of key Hezbollah leaders, including its chief, Hassan Nasrallah. He said Nasrallah is gone, his deputy Mohsen is gone, Haniyeh is gone, Mohammad Daif is gone, Sinwar is gone. The reign of terror that the Iranian regime has imposed on its own people and on the peoples of Iraq, Syria, Lebanon and Yemen too will come to an end. Israel says Yahya Sinwar was the mastermind of the horrific 7th October attack, the deadliest in Israeli history that resulted in the deaths of over 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and over 250 people were taken hostage. In response, Israel launched a strong counter-offensive in the Gaza Strip while vowing to wipe off Hamas from the face of the earth. Over 42,000 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza, many of them women and children, since the war began a little over a year ago. A vast majority of the 2.3 million people have been rendered homeless in the enclave, which has been left in ruins. While Israel has taken out many top Hamas and Hezbollah leaders in precision attacks in recent months, the killing of Yahya Sinwar is Israel's biggest victory so far in the war against Hamas. His death is a serious blow for Hamas, the organization that he turned into a fighting force that inflicted the biggest defeat on Israel in its entire history. And he was not killed in a planned special forces operation, but in a chance encounter with Israeli forces in Rafah in southern Gaza. For more than a year, Israeli troops had hunted the leader of Hamas, who disappeared in Gaza soon after the 7th October attacks. Yahya Sinwar was said to have spent much of his time hiding in the tunnels under the Gaza Strip, along with a cadre of bodyguards and a human shield of hostages seized from Israel. But ultimately, he met his end in a chance encounter with an Israeli patrol. His guard detail was small, no hostages were found. On Wednesday, it was a routine patrol for a unit of Israeli soldiers. Then a firefight erupted and the Israelis, backed by drones, destroyed a part of a building where several militants had taken cover. 3 militants were identified and engaged by the Israeli troops, and all were eliminated. At that stage, nothing seemed particularly remarkable about the firefight, and the soldiers did not return to the scene until Thursday morning. When the dust cleared and they began searching the building, it was then, as the dead were suspected, the soldiers found a body that bore a striking resemblance to someone they had not expected to find. Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas. The body was left the way it was due to suspected booby traps. Only a part of one of his fingers was removed and sent to Israel for a DNA test. The test confirmed that it was indeed Israel's most wanted man. Yahya Sinwar's body was finally extracted and brought to Israel later that day as the area was made safe. Sinwar's death is the most severe blow to Hamas's leadership after more than a year of escalating violence in the Middle East. It comes less than 3 weeks after Israeli forces killed the leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah. The question now is, will Hamas chief Yahya Sinwar's death mark the beginning of the end of the war in Gaza? US President Joe Biden said it was a good day for the world, and he had congratulated Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and would send US Secretary of State Antony Blinken to Israel soon. Significantly, Biden remarked, "Now is the time to move on. It is time for this war to end and bring the hostages home." With the ceasefire and hostage release deal stuck for months, there appeared to be no way forward. But now, with the Hamas chief gone, many believe this could be one of the best chances of bringing the Israel-Hamas war to an end. But Iran has said the circumstances of Yahya Sinwar's death will strengthen the spirit of resistance. Lebanon's Hezbollah militant group has said it is moving to a new and escalating phase in its war against Israel. Therefore, even with Sinwar's death, the wider Middle East conflict rages on, particularly as Israel prepares to retaliate against Iran's ballistic missile attack earlier this month.